Hi, Casey Casperson here as the career improviser. If you're watching this video, you've probably just watched part one of Eventbrite's How to Use the Survey Monkey extension. This is just a little more advanced, a little more in depth part two. So if all you want to do is send out a survey and get information from people that are about to attend your event or have already attended your event, then you're great. But this one is really specifically catered to people that are trying to protect their online reputation. And specifically for me, it's with Yelp, TripAdvisor, Google, and Facebook. I think we all understand and know if you are a business owner that if someone leaves a really bad review on one of those sites, because most of us don't get a ton of reviews in the first place because we're small businesses, it takes 8 to 10 perfect reviews to replace a bad review. And if you're running a good business and you've got good customer service and you've got a great product, chances are the review that you're receiving isn't necessarily warranted, especially if all the other reviews are looking good. So we're going to assume that the business that you're doing is good business and you're taking care of your clients, and that you're providing them a great product or a great service. So in improv, we want to make sure we're putting on a good show. And improv is definitely not everybody's cup of tea. It's a niche product. And even when it's done perfectly, people sometimes just don't get it. And we totally understand that. So this is where the survey comes into play. So I've already shown you how to build a survey in Survey Monkey and how to activate that. So we're going to assume that you already know how to do that. And if not, go check out part one. But in this Eventbrite application, here we are. And we're going to talk a little bit specifically about my 2017 show survey. So normally this would be what I would send to the attendees. We go from there. Now I've already opened up Survey Monkey. This is my dashboard. And we're going to take a look at my surveys. And once we get into that, we're going to look at the 2017 show survey. So you can see here in the 2017 show survey that for the entire year, I've only gotten 104 responses. So every single time I have an event, I have people going and putting their responses into this specific event. I'm going to show you how it's structured so that we can still pull the information out of it and see which show people came to and what they're talking about. So if we click into the 2017 show survey, Survey Monkey always does a great job of starting to the left of the summary of what you're looking at here. So it shows that I have 9 questions with 3 pages, and I'll show you kind of broken down how I've designed this. Okay, so it shows that all these email invitations, all those were automatically generated by Eventbrite. So every single time you see an email invitation that's going out, it's coming from Eventbrite. Okay. So if we go back to Survey Monkey, and you can see I don't get a lot of responses. Sometimes I get more responses than others. And it's important to me because if maybe we had a really bad show, then we probably get more responses. So I can almost tell the ones where we get the most responses, that might mean that the show didn't go as well. And I need to find out about it. And I'm going to tell you about what I do with this information once it comes through. Okay. So we go to design the survey. And I've already shown you how to build the survey. So this is really more of a customizing of the survey that's already built. Okay. And so you can see, first of all, if you watch the first video, that I've got a little more style, not a lot more, but a little more style than the last one. And that just comes from paying for a higher program. So I think I pay $26 a month. So right away, you can see that what was the date of the show that you attended? Okay. Okay, so let's get right into it. You can edit any one of these questions. And so the first question you might have is, if I'm constantly getting data into one survey, how can I separate it out to see which show that it was? Well, the first question that I ask is, what was the date of the show that you attended? And one thing that I noticed just looking at this survey is we should require an answer to this question. I need to know I need to know what show you were at. So fortunately, everyone is, for the most part, told us or given us an answer to that question. So I can save that in place. So that's a nice feature of SurveyMonkey. There's a ton of features in here. Um, all the other questions are optional. I don't want anyone to feel pressured that they have to give me any more information than they want to. If they feel particularly passionate, then they can elaborate. So one of the ones that I want to go over here, so I ask, what did Sick Puppies comedy do really well? What changes would most improve our show? So I asked that as opposed to, do you have any complaints or concerns? So what changes would most improve our show? I'm trying to keep it as positive as possible. And then do you have any other comments? Now you'll notice down here that I do put an asterisk down here, which is how likely is it that you would recommend this show to a friend or a colleague? To me, that's the most important question in the entire survey. And what I've determined is that if someone leaves me a 9 or a 10, and they have the opportunity to leave us some form of a review on Yelp or Facebook or TripAdvisor or Google Plus, that it's going to be a really good survey. If they leave us a 6 or an 8, they might leave us a 3 or a 4-star survey. And I'm only really interested in 5-star surveys. 3 and 4-star surveys, in my opinion, are just as good as a 0, just because I just want raving fans leaving surveys for us. And so this gives me that information up front to find out what's going on. So I also want to find out, how did you find out about us? But again, it's not a mandatory question. So this is a way for you to figure out if your marketing worked, whatever you used. And so we pay for Facebook ads, we pay for Google AdWords. Obviously, if there's a cast member that you came to follow, if there's word of mouth, if you're a returning audience member, and if there's something other that you would like to share with us. But those are the ways that I'm familiar with how it came through. And what we do find is every once in a while, and the other people will type in Eventbrite. So Eventbrite might be another option that we add in the future. Here's where I think this is really powerful. You can always click on this logic button. And if you click on this logic button for the how likely are you to recommend us to a friend, it basically says if the answer is a 0 through an 8, it's the end of the survey. Okay? If it's a 0 through 8, it's the end of the survey. If the answer is a 9 or a 10, then we take you to page 2, to the top of the page, and we'll show you page 2. Go back to the top here. Page 2. So, page 2. Now all of a sudden, give us a review, we'll give you free tickets. Now it's against the rules to solicit a good review. You can't make someone leave you a good review and then buy it by giving them something. But you can most definitely solicit a review. And because I know that someone has left me a 9 or a 10 as far as how likely they are to refer us to a friend, I take them over to this page. And I give them all the links, and I also give them the suggestion that, hey, we offer a show pass if you'd like to come see more shows. So you can leave your reviews on Facebook, Yelp, TripAdvisor, Google, and then they tell us where they left their reviews. I find those reviews, I line it up with their email address, I send them a discount code through Eventbrite, which I can cover in another tutorial, but essentially I turn their email address into a discount code that is limited to however many uses I choose, 1 or 2 uses. They can put in their discount code for any show that they want to come back and see because they've left a review. Because I know it's going to be a great review, I suggest this to them. If it's anything less than an 8, what I do is I go into the survey and see if they've left any specific details. And pretty much if the survey is at a 4 or a 5 or less, regardless of what they say, whether or not I agree with what they're saying, I have to avoid a bad review at all costs. And I have found that in the about year and a half that I've been implementing this policy, this program, we've gotten 1 bad review, and I was able to contact that person behind the scenes in a private message and work out whatever their issue was, and they removed their poor review because I was able to satisfy their concerns, which was a misunderstanding. By the customer having the ability to provide us feedback and tell us about their experience, what I have found is that customers just want to provide feedback. And the only way that they can do that sometimes is through Yelp or Facebook or Google, because maybe they had a wonderful experience, so they want to share it out there. But most of the time, it's when they had a challenging time or they didn't like what they saw. And this provides that outlet to them almost immediately. I try to send the survey out the day after the event. Then it gives me the opportunity to reach out to that customer, because they do have to register their email address. So I can line it up with the customer information that I've gathered in Eventbrite, making sure that I collect a phone number so I can call and email them and follow up and see what went wrong. But here's the trick. Before I even pick up the phone and call anyone that's left me a 5 or less, I will refund their tickets. I'll give them all their money back. Immediately after that, I send them an email after I've refunded their tickets and said, I'm really sorry you had a poor experience last night. I'd like to offer free tickets to another show. Or if you would, share with me more information as to why your experience was so poor. Most of the time, I never hear back from that customer, but in the last year and a half, we also haven't gotten any bad reviews. And if we can't be honest with ourselves as to what's really going on in our surveys and our reviews and the quality of product that we're putting up on stage, then we're going to continue to give bad customer service. So this gives you the opportunity to see exactly what's happening with your audience at the very moment that it's happening almost. And so use the logic button within SurveyMonkey, and it takes literally 30 seconds. Once you have the template in place, after every single show, you just go into the show, you click whatever you've named your survey, which attendees. So I always check on checked in attendees. I don't really want to survey people that didn't check in, and we're off to the races. So again, if you have any questions, you can always check out more information at thecareerimproviser.com. You can leave information in the comments and we'll pick that up. Or you can check out a show if you're local at sickpuppiescomedy.com. Thanks so much.